Transit, transit, transit. Oh boy, have I been waiting for this. I have a lot to say about this map. Good things, bad things, and everything in between. So that's what we're going to do today. We're already aware that this map has a really bad reputation, so I'm not going to blindly hate it. However, I will tell you what I think, and I'm not going to pull any punches with this map. So without any further ado, let's get right into Transit, starting with the pros of the map. Of course, we're here at the lore. The lore is once again extremely fleshed out and great. There's tons of radios just dictating the absolute chaos the world is in at this point, following the continuation of Moon, which is extremely cool. So the gist of it is, after the events of Moon, the Earth is in absolute tatters, and 4 survivors of different upbringings and backgrounds band together to try and survive. However, the voices of Maxis and Richtofen now control the world. Maxis going over the loudspeakers as he's merged with electricity, and Richtofen being able to communicate with people that have consumed zombie flesh. And one of those members is in our new crew, Samuel J. Stuhlinger, arguably the most important member of the new Victus crew. He can communicate with Richtofen through the ether. However, no one else on Stuhlinger's crew can hear him, because none of them consume zombie flesh. Stuhlinger was part of a group that consumed zombie flesh to survive, and believing it was the only way to get out, because after they consumed it, they could hear Richtofen. As we all know, that is not how you survive, of course, but that's what they were led to believe at this point. So, with no one else to turn to, they ultimately end up following what Maxis says, because everybody, including Stuhlinger, can hear Maxis. So their goal is to activate a pylon in the favor of Maxis by keeping the power off and then doing some work around the map to be able to power up Maxis to make it so he can control the ether. As Maxis promises that he'll save the world, we all know how that turned out. Regardless, that's all they have to go on, and they are at the mercy of these two forces, so they ultimately end up going with Maxis. The story is great. There's a lot here. The Victus crew, regardless of what I have to say about them, are very interesting individuals nonetheless. And in the following maps, this is fleshed out even more, but we're not even at that point yet, and I think the lore here is extremely good. The map itself, minus the fog, looks extremely good. The areas that are playable in the map are highly detailed and look really good for what they are. Obviously, inside the fog doesn't look great because it's not modeled, but this map looks really good for what it is. So yeah, this map does really good stuff with the lore, and I can't get enough of it. The radios around the map itself, the characters are pretty decent. They're alright, you know? I think everything works out really well. Just like the new perk Tombstone. Tombstone is a new perk introduced on this map that allows you to, when you go down, you can hold the interact button to kill yourself. Why that a feature? I don't know, but after you end up dying, regardless if you bleed out or you just end up killing yourself, personally, I would recommend getting rid of that killing yourself option and allowing it so if you just die, the stash shows up. But as I said, the stash will show up and you can retrieve all your stuff. This also allows you to get more than 4 perks, which is a really cool feature about the perk. The perk does not work in solo. It has no solo features, which is extremely stupid, and I will be getting into that in a little bit. But for what Tombstone is, it's a good perk. It's welcome. It doesn't hurt. Yes, some will say it incentivizes you killing yourself, but that is stupid. If you go down and you're bleeding out and you know you won't be able to survive because how big this map is, you hold the interact button and then you just go get your Tombstone stash. But be careful, as when you spawn back in, your Tombstone stash will only be there for 90 seconds, so make a break for it. It's still a decent perk. It is a bit of a band-aid solution for how big the map is, but it's a neat perk nonetheless. I also would like to talk about how the bus and Ted. The bus is a new mechanic on this map that allows you to get around the map with relative ease. The bus is pretty much the place you'll be on for most of the map if you don't want to run through the fog. The bus is the place that you'll be on for most of this game. It's surrounded by window barriers, and piloting the entire bus is Ted, a robot bus driver who has a lot of witty remarks. Ted is a fan favorite character for a reason, and Ted is just awesome. Regardless, on the bus, it's a pretty decent place to survive, as you have a B-23R on the roof, which is pretty cool, as you can get unlimited ammo to be able to kill some zombies. The B-23R ain't half bad. It's a rapid-fire pistol, which can really get the job done, especially in early rounds. It's only 1,000 points. It's a really good investment. Too bad, honestly, Mule Kick's not on this map, as I feel like Mule Kick would help this map a lot. Anywho, though, the B-23R, as I said, is a pretty good gun. It'll get you through the early parts of the game, and during these early parts of the game, you're most likely to become in contact with the new system, Permaperk. Permaperks are not exactly a Transit introduction, but since this is the first map, I'm going to count it for Transit because I am trying to give this map credit where it's due, and I don't want to come off as me blindly hating. I'm trying to give it credit here, so I'm going to count Permaperks as a Transit introduction. Permaperks pretty much, after you fill a very specific condition of various degrees, a green flash will show up on your screen, and then what will end up happening, you'll be getting a specific buff. Whether it be increased mystery box luck to get a wonder weapon, whether it be increased long shot point increase, whether it be iron barriers, whether it be refund perks, perma jug, perma tombstone. There's so many different features that it's not even explained in game for some reason. It's just a giant mystery. Even to this day, not all the perma perks are known and how to get them. It's just extremely cryptic, but it fits the style of zombies very well, and they're always welcome buffs. But for example, if you end up killing yourself 3 times in a row in a solo game, on round 1, you'll end up in your 4th game getting a permanent juggernaut till round 15, which will allow you, if you buy a jug, to take like 8 hits of damage. It is a very nice beginner's tool to get you better at zombies. It's a little handholdy, sure, but for what it is, it's a very nice feature. You can even get the ray gun off the wall. Like, they knew what they were doing with this, trying to make this an introductory game for fans. It's a very good thing. Just like the survival maps. Once again, this is a BO2 introduction, not a Transit thing. I personally think that since these are parts of Transit, I'll count it for Transit. Survival maps are pretty much just cornered off sections of the map where you survive with limited resources. Some with pack-a-punch, some without pack-a-punch, some with nothing. It's a very cool addition nonetheless, just like the Galvanuckles. The Galvanuckles are the successor to the Bowie knife. For 6,000 points, you can tase zombies. It's a great way to one-hit kill zombies all the way to around 14 to get a lot of points. And ironically, guys, this is the first map with the zombie shield. The zombie shield is the GOAT in terms of buildables. It's the ultimate buildable. It can be used for offense, defense, and most importantly, it looks sick as hell on this map. It has like a car door in it. It looks like it was scrapped together with resources that really fits the map's aesthetic. It looks really cool, but it's a shame it can only be equipped if you give it to your turbine. We'll get into that in a little bit. Regardless, though, I think the shield is a really welcome addition that makes its return on plenty of maps, especially the Blundell era. We love the shield, man. The shield is really cool, and I'm really glad this map introduced it. Also, being, once again, like a kind of a soft reboot, I guess. A little bit, kind of. This map has a Nocturne and Toten reference, where in the cornfield, there'll be like a knock bunker. It's not the same knock bunker that Nocturne and Toten took place on. Just to make the story a little more confusing than it already is. Regardless, so it's a really cool reference, and it's a piece of the new Wonder Weapon. Still, though, it's a really cool addition, and it's a really fun place to survive for a nostalgia trip. Then we have the bank. Once again, a bit of a stretch. However, this map is the first map to introduce a bank system. This is more of a safety net. It's a thing that allows your game to be a little bit easier than your last game. Black Ops 1 was full of difficult and challenging maps that will push you to your limits as a zombies player. With aggressive AI, 2-hit down, you are not getting to a high round easily in that game. However, Zelensky and the zombies team decided that they're going to put in a little bit of a nudge, a crutch, to help new players get better at the game. The bank system, pretty much you can deposit up to 300,000 points into the bank to use in any single game in the future. Say you play till round 50 and got 80,000 points. Before you end your game, head over to the bank and deposit all 80,000 points into the bank, and then reset your game. Maybe you decide to play on Die Rise. When you play on Die Rise, you don't feel like you're good as a Die Rise than you are as a Transit, so what you do on Die Rise, you end up going to the bank and withdrawing 80,000 points on round 1 to help you out. It's a little game-breaking, yes, but it's a really nice push, and eventually you'll end up not using the bank anymore. I'm gonna tell you right now, back in the day, I always used to use the bank. I could not play zombies without it. I was just that bad at it. However, I no longer play with the bank. I don't like using the bank. It did its job well for me, and I feel like it did its job well for a lot of people watching this too, possibly. So that is definitely something to keep in mind, and why I think the bank is a perfectly fine addition, as it's completely optional. You and your friends can decide not to use it. But most likely, a new player is going to use it to make themselves get you know, a little bit of help. Nothing's wrong with that. And before we move on to we have one more thing to talk about. This is the first map in zombies history where you can actually turn off the power with 2 ways. EMP grenades, and you can actually turn the power switch off. This is the first map in history where you can actually turn the power off. This exists for the Easter egg, but I think it was a really neat piece of trivia. As I always like throwing some trivia in here and there. But yeah, you can actually turn off the power to give yourself a bit of a challenge. Maybe a no power challenge to open up some possibilities. Really cool stuff. You know, I feel like we're on the good section for a little bit time now. Like, you know, I wanted to talk about the map and what it did right. I didn't want to just completely say this map did nothing right, because that's not entirely true. However, I do have a lot to say when it comes to the bad things about this map, starting with the map size. This map is way too fucking big. I'm just gonna be completely blunt about it. This map is too fucking big for its own goddamn good. Do you know how they compensate for the map being so big on last-gen consoles? They put this unbelievable fog on the map. It makes it impossible to see anything. You can't see shit. It gets rid of what I was praising this map for in terms of its visual design and fidelity. I feel like the spawn area looks pretty good. I think the diner looks great. This destroyed area looks really cool. However, it's ruined by this disgusting fog. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna turn it the hell off right now. Oh, right. Much better, much better. So, what was I saying again? Oh, yeah. Okay, so, the problem I have... fine, I'll turn it back on. I know that's cheating, so... there we go. Fog's back on. Alright, cool. But anyways, I was just saying, the fog ruins this map. Remember on Call of the Dead when I was talking about the fog? It's worse here. The fog on Call of the Dead would go away occasionally. It never goes away here. Never. The moment you start the game, the fog is there to stay, motherfucker, so better get used to it. There is nothing you can do to turn off the fog. It is just unacceptable. Instead of giving us an option to sanction off a map so they can turn off the fog to make training a little bit easier and the map a little better to look at, they just keep the obnoxious fog because there's so much dead space in between the areas. Those in-between areas can be removed removed, and they can forsaken us and put a teleporter at every section of the map just to get rid of the fog, and this map would be better because of it. It's unbelievable, man. Just like the buildables, dude. The buildables. Yes, this is in the bad section, actually. I talked about the shield, but the shield's an exception to this rule, but the buildables and the turbine specifically. What the actual fuck were they thinking with this stupid system? This system is so anti-solo, it's not even funny. You can only carry one piece. The way they wanted this to work, where it's one player carries each piece, that's good. What about for solo players? Oh, it's simple. Just get all 4 parts and build it yourself, being able to carry one part at a time. In fact, this system was so bad in Mob of the Dead, they actually changed the buildable system to work like the way it should be in this map. Not only is the turbine just the most worthless waste of a tool that I've ever fucking seen that takes place of the shield, but the turbine is used to open doors, it's used to open Pack-a-Punch, it's used to power the rest of the buildables, all 84 buildables on this map that only work with the turbine, so you're never using it in solo. This map just completely contradicts itself. The turbine could be fixed. It could be fixed if it went in your bottom D-pad slot, but no, it goes in your top D-pad slot with the shield, the turret trap, the electric trap, the sentry trap, whatever the hell trap there is. The fact that the turbine overrides everything else is bullshit. I will be here for 30 minutes ranting about how bad the turbine and the buildable system is in this map, because this map has like 85 buildables, and some of them are kind of cool. Remember the electric trap from Varrock? Well, you can build that shit. The sentry trap from Kino? You can build that shit. They went out and animated and made all these parts for you to pick up and build these things, but you can't fucking use them without the turbine. I get it. It's just because this map and the Victus maps in general are co-op maps. I get that, but the fact there's no solo precautions in place is bullshit. Hell, this doesn't even work in 2-player that well. You need 4 people, but you're not always gonna have 4 people when you play. You know what's worse? We're not even done with the con section yet of this video. Why? Because we have the EMP grenade to talk about. This is what they're trying to call the next QEDs or Gersh device, by the way. The EMP grenades, aka the ultimate troll device. Throw the EMP at zombies and they'll stop moving until you jump or sprint or shoot. To be honest, this is kind of a cool feature about it. You could throw an EMP into a horde of zombies and you could like kind of pause your game in a co-op game, which is really cool, but that's where the pros end. For some unexplainable reason you get 2. They're required for the Easter egg, the rate in the box is abysmal, and they turn off your perk machine. Remember when I was saying you could turn off the power and I thought that was kind of cool? It is cool. It's not cool when you throw an EMP grenade at some zombies and then across the map somehow turned off your jug. Why is the range for the EMP grenade even wider than the QED's explosion? It makes no sense. It's like they were making these obnoxious on purpose. They can shut the box when your teammate spins it. They can shut off the bus. Like, what were they thinking with these things? It is so easy to accidentally turn off a perk machine you need to survive because how wide the range of these pieces of shit are. What happened if you throw an EMP grenade at a zombie and the bus is somehow just approaching your location and the bus stops for 3 minutes? 3 minutes! This shit stops for. I don't understand why they made the EMP grenade so obnoxious. But even then, the EMP grenades don't even compare to how bad I think the denizens are. The denizens, if the fog wasn't bad enough, if the fact that there's a football field of blanks in between each map, the denizens are there to slow you down so this piece of shit doesn't crash. If you play this map without fog, you'll notice all the pop-in. And if you're on a 360, that shit's gonna be a fucking fire hazard by the end of the game. Anyway, between the maps, you're running through there and you have these little pieces of fucking garbage jump on your head and claw you to slow you down. And they take multiple knives to kill. You're vulnerable to zombie hits. They do damage to you. They're loud. They're obnoxious. They blur your vision in a place where your vision already sucks. You thought the Nova Crawlers and Moon were bad? These guys are even worse. Somehow. How do they make something worse than the Nova Crawlers on Moon? I don't understand how. These are map ruining features. I don't understand why they needed to be this obnoxious. With the Galvanuckles, they are a 2-hit, which is still too much in my opinion. Yes, you can kill them before they jump on your head, but you gotta turn around and then risk getting killed by a zombie because the denizens are relentless. 2 can spawn at a time for each player, and they infinitely spawn. Nothing can take these guys out. A nuke will kill them, but they will respawn immediately. There is no checks and balances in place to make sure these guys don't get overwhelming and exhausting. Yes, it's a punishment for getting across the map, but this leads us into our next point about the bus. The bus, you cannot call it to your location, and the bus takes 7 minutes to get across the entire map if I'm not mistaken. Because the bus takes so long to get to each location, and it's at each stop for 90 seconds, it is going to take ages for it to get back to you so you can go to the next area. So you're pretty much forced to run across the map. The map balance collapses on itself and contradicts everything it's trying to do. It's trying to punish you from going in the fog, but you have to go in the fog to progress through the map. This is why this map is so obnoxious, because the map balance doesn't count for itself and what it's trying to do, and it makes it so you have to be cornered to one area, and an area like town has no wall weapons. It's like this map is trying to be frustrating. And then you have the Pack-a-Punch as our next thing. So the way way you get pack-a-punch is, of course, you need the turbine, because why would you want the shield? So you get the turbine, you go to the power station, you jump down, you place this turbine in front of this random door, and then you run all the way to town. However, during the power sequence, when you turn on the power, there is a cutscene that plays, which is about 30 seconds long, which will most likely make it so if you don't know where each piece of the power is, which you need to fucking build, that the bus is going to leave you. And then you need to run through the fog. And then when you're running through the fog, a zombie is most likely going to hit your turbine and break it. Because guess what? If that turbine, you can't get pack-a-punch. The way you get pack-a-punch is you got to get to town somehow without your turbine breaking. You break open the vent vault and run downstairs. Assuming your turbine didn't break, you're good to go. You can pack-a-punch after building it. Because why would it just be there? You have to build it. This map is already obnoxious enough. I get they're trying to make it buildable to show off the new mechanic. Like I said, just because it's a new mechanic doesn't mean it's good. It's terrible design. I just cannot explain to you why this map's pack-a-punch is obnoxious. And it's like Shangri-La. It's temporary. So what happens when you get down there and you pack-a-punch your guns? I hope you love your 2 guns, buddy. Because when you go back up, the door will shut immediately. The door will shut. Why? You can stay down there forever, of course. But the zombie spawns are completely lopsided down there. None of them spawn in front of you. They only spawn to your side. And there's windows at every corner. This map is just so anti-player. And especially anti-solo. It is just not even funny. And you know what sucks? We're not even done. Still. We still have to talk about the wonder weapon on the map, which you may have noticed, but it's not in the pro section like normal wonder weapons are. This weapon is in the con section. For multiple reasons. For one, it's weak as hell. This garbage piece of machinery can't even kill multiple zombies when round 12. It's so unbelievably bad, it's not even funny. And what happened if you fire it for more than 15 seconds? It explodes. It fucking explodes. And all the pieces scatter, and since you can only pick up one piece at once, you gotta bring them all back to the town. Oh, well, guess what? If the pieces are on the ground for too long, they'll disappear. You have to bring it back to build it. Yes, build it. You have to build this piece of shit, by the way. You can't just get it from the box. That'd be too simple. I will tell you this. This is a good thing about the weapon. It takes up your shield slot. To be fair, the turbine was most likely there, so you probably don't even have the shield. You pretty much just forget the shield exists on this map. But yes, this weapon is kind of like a mule kick gun. It takes up your buildable slot for some reason. It means no shield, but this thing, you know, it is cool how it is a free weapon, pretty much. It is, in theory, infinite ammo. The only way to recharge the thing is to keep it out and make it so you don't fire it for like 3 minutes while it recharges. You can fire for 10 seconds. We all know how bad this gun is. We do. And I didn't even talk about the build process yet. The build process, as I said, we need to build it. There are 4 pieces scattered around this giant labyrinth of a map. There's 1 piece of power. There's 1 piece all the way down at the tunnels. There's 1 at night and the cabin. But all are on the opposite side of the map. And most of them you need to run into the fog to get. I built this thing like 5 times in my time playing zombies, and I built it all 5 times, and I hated it each time. It's a weak piece of crap. It can't kill. It breaks. After 30 minutes of running around the map in solo, it breaks. It makes me sad. It feels like this map was sabotaged on purpose at times. Anyway, let's talk about the Easter egg. So the first step is to turn on the power. Oh, wait, you need 4 players. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry, you could technically do it solo, but you need to have the aim of wall hacks to be able to do this Easter egg solo. Anyway, after we drag 3 people in with a ransom note, you turn the power on, and then you build the jet gun. There's actually 2 sides to this Easter egg, which is pretty cool, but I'm only covering Richtofen. You turn the power on, you build the jet gun, you shoot the pylon, the jet gun, you get explosive kills, you throw an EMP grenade down, and bam. So easy. That didn't take very long, right? No, it didn't. But, you know what you gotta do? You gotta get EMP grenades from the box for all 4 players. The EMP grenades are just as rare as the QEDs in Black Ops 1, and all 4 players need them. All 4. Are you absolutely kidding me? It's like Ascension on crack. That's the last step in Ascension was bad enough. At least Ascension's a good map to play. This map is a fucking nightmare. You can't see shit. You're in the fog doing this crap. And then you have to run through the fog, be able to hit these little light things, and then you throw the EMP grenades all at the same time. All 4 players need to throw at the same time, and then you complete the Easter egg, and that's it. You get nothing. You get nothing. Oh, you can use the nav card table, which is the most confusing piece of fucking shit I've ever seen in my entire life. Whatever. You complete the Easter egg. Yippee, you get no reward. There is no reward. None! In Black Ops 1, you get a permanent perkaholic. What you get here? You get nothing. You get an achievement. Who cares? This map, man. It's literally the gift that keeps on giving. If the gift was shit. I like trying to give maps the benefit of the doubt when it's possible. I tried to talk about good things about this map, but I am not going to blindly like this map. I'm not. I will concede really fast and say this. This map in 4 players isn't half bad. It's really not that bad with 4 players. This map was made for 4 players, and you can have some really fun times with this map on 4 players. But if you're like me and a solo player, mainly, you are literally going to lose brain cells playing this map. It is that bad. It pains me that such an ambitious jump in map ended up like this. All because Zelensky was just way too fucking ambitious. Look, I respect an effort, but they did not admit they were wrong. They would have patched this shit out if they did. They could have patched the bus. They could have patched the wonder weapon. They could have made the buildable system from Mob of the Dead because it's already in the game. They actually downgraded the build system from Mob of the Dead to Buried. I just don't know what they were thinking behind the scenes with this map, dude. I just don't get it. I really want to like this map. I will say that I think this map is not the worst map ever in 4 player. No way. No way, dude. This map in 4 player is okay, but in solo, this map is the worst. And nothing really comes close to it in terms of how just anti-player it is and how the entire game just collapses on itself, trying to be something that it just clearly cannot be.